Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Roaming Preppers News and Headlines, and one of my live streams that should have been a live stream, but I had to pre-record it because my schedule is absolute garbage. In any case, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to talk about a lesson we can learn from our neighbors, specifically our friends to the south in Mexico. As you know, I have a lot of friends from Mexico, many of whom are dual citizens and it's a great country, great people, but they're having issues and not about immigration. So, what exactly is the problem? The problem is their resources, specifically their water. They're having issues with water. Um, we have witnessed the reduction in Lake Mead over in Vegas. It has refilled because of the epic amounts of snow and rain we've had this year. And again, it could be part of the natural cycle. Historically speaking, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the ancient civilizations had to move around because of droughts, famines, plagues, all sorts of stuff hit humanity at different times of society and forced people to move away. Uh, but what they're dealing with is kind of unique. So they're running out of water. And that's a problem because Mexico City is not, by any means, not a small city. It is a large city. There are millions of people. If you include the outskirts, it gets close to the size of LA, New York. It's a massive city. Lots of people, lots of tourists, lots of commerce. So this is a problem. I want to share a snippet I got from CNN. I'm going to put that up on the stage, and I'm going to be quiet and let you listen in. And hopefully, I got the audio right on this one. Hang on just a second, and off we go.
Lorena Cruz knows she's breaking the law every time she pulls water from this underground reservoir. She says it is a miracle the city tank has water, and without it, the whole neighborhood would suffer because they've had no running water for over a month. And the city, she says, still wants them to pay for the service. Lorena and her neighbors are not the only ones struggling to find water for their basic needs. All 21 million residents in Mexico City's metropolitan area
21
are
million.
experiencing
That's
shortages,
huge.
in part because of a severe drought. Mexico's capital gets its water from two sources: a system of reservoirs known as Cutzamala and underground aquifers.
En este momento hay un promedio de 35-36% de almacenamiento.
Raúl Rodríguez Márquez, director of the Consejo Consultivo del Agua, a civic organization promoting water conservation, says the reservoirs are at historic low levels, well below 40% capacity, and the aquifers are over-extracted. Part of the problem has been drier than normal rain season that typically run from May to August. And experts say the situation can worsen for the city built over a lake bed before the Spaniards arrived 5 centuries.
So just as that stupid commercial goes by, oh, hey, it started again.
The
Hold on.
city could run out of water this summer on what it's being called Day Zero.
Y ya se está trabajando.
Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador dismissed those claims, calling them an attempt from the opposition to influence the presidential election in June, and said his government is working to get more water to the city.
Está garantizado.
The city's mayor assured residents that the water supply is guaranteed. But frustrated residents have taken to the streets in protest, and many neighborhoods depend on water delivered by trucks. Some paid by the government, many paid by local residents.
Hasta 2,000 pesos cada pipa.
Maria Herminia Collins says each truck costs about $200, and it's just enough for 20 days of water for a handful of families, if they use it wisely and recycle, like using water from washing dishes to flush toilets. But the lack of rain is not the only reason experts say Mexico City is suffering from water shortages. A study by Universidad Autónoma de México shows that 40% of the water supply is lost due to leaks, some because of breakage of pipes during the frequent earthquakes, some because the city still relies on pipes over 100 years old.
No ha sido una prioridad.
Rodríguez Márquez says that instead of investing to improve the infrastructure, the money spent on water projects has decreased for many years. We contacted CONAGUA, Mexico's national water management agency, and they declined our request for an interview. They also declined to answer the written questions we submitted about the water supply levels and the state of the infrastructure. For now, the government will continue to ration distribution and continues to.
Okay, folks, so that's something that's super interesting, and it's a lesson for all of us because during hurricanes such as Harvey, Ike, the other hurricanes, power went out. When the power goes out at the water treatment plants, the water typically will become unusable or no longer potable, depending on the circumstances and how long the system's offline. The guideline is typically if the pressure in the pipes falls below 20 psi, it allows bacteria to backflush into the drinking water from those various treatment tanks. What their problem is a whole different one. They don't have the damn water in the first place. Largely, it seems like due to lack of infrastructure and mismanagement. But we can take a lesson from this, and this is not to panic anybody. It's actually to make you think. So, what if they cut off water? Let's say you live in California, you have an earthquake and the pipes get destroyed, as they mention here, or you're in Texas and you get hit by a hurricane, knocks the power out, the water is no longer potable. What if you're in Ohio and a damn train flips over and contaminates one of the aquifers for a period of time? This is a great reason to have any kind of water storage, and you want to have water for cooking and water for consumption and for animals, but you also want to have utility water. It doesn't have to be perfect water, but it does have to be potable or usable. uh, so for instance, I myself, aside from the 5 gallon jugs that you put on the water cooler and the bottled water that all of us have, I have those blue squares, if you will, the water squares, but those are not filled per se with drinking water. It has tap water in them, which has been treated with a little bit of clean bleach, unscented, not the splash resistant, just bleach. If you use the other stuff, you'll get sick. But that is not meant for drinking. That's meant for sanitation, for flushing, for hand washing, face washing, maybe dishes. We also have a stash of disposable plates, cups, utensils in the event we don't want to use the precious water to wash dishes. We throw the dishes away. Now you don't reuse the dishes, so you save water, but now you create trash, which could create presence of vermin. So you have to trade off. But this is interesting because it's beginning with the protests. Now I want you guys to think back to COVID. How quickly did everything people start to lose their marbles in the stores because they couldn't find toilet paper? How do you think they'll be if they can't find food or water? Okay, you can get by with whatever food you have in your house for about 2 weeks before it really affects you. Whether you're happy or not is irrelevant, but you can't go 2 weeks without water. You will likely die or suffer some other catastrophe in your body. So, and again, that's a generic 3-day rule, but quite honestly, it's different for every person. Some people will start dehydrating and getting very sick in 24 hours. Others could make it 4 days. It purely depends on your environment, your physical fitness, body fat content, how much you normally drink water. So, you got to factor all these things in, but this is important. This is a good lesson for all of us to understand what they're doing. Now, you notice what they said. We can learn from what they're doing, right? The folks in Mexico are like, oh, we'll get creative. So the dishwater, when they do dishes, they do laundry, whatever, that dirty water is now being used to flush the toilet. So you take care of two problems. One, you've taken care of your dishes, laundry, etc. Two, you found a way to flush your toilets to maintain a level of hygiene in the house because you don't want a backed up toilet in an SHTF because then literally there will be SHTF, shit hits the floor, I guess. It would just be bad. It would back up. And anyway, you guys get the picture. I want everyone to think about that. Take a minute and just say, how would I handle that if my water got turned off for 2 weeks? Or if I got rationed, what would I do? How would I get other water sources? You live in Ohio, Missouri, Louisiana, Carolinas, Texas. There's a lot of water sources. You get West Texas, it's a sandy grassland. You go to Vegas, it's a straight up desert. So where do you find the resource? Having the water filter is great, but you got to have water to filter. You can't filter sand and get water. So, something to think about, not to panic, but start planning now. So, if the power goes out, especially with all the hacks and the phone outages, you never know what's going on. We never get the full story. Plan accordingly, be prepared accordingly. And that way you don't have to stress out if something happens because you've got a plan. And that's 90, at least 90, 50% of the battle is mentally being ready for the situation and having enough assets to at least be able to manage it on the front end while you figure out what your next steps are. Remember, when you prep it, it buys you not just comfort, it buys you some time. So, anyway, folks, that's it for this one. I hope you all are safe this week. You all be blessed. I will try to do live streams as I can, but between grad school, the company classes, the business travel, and then just life in general, I'm struggling to keep up. But anyway, you guys, God bless, Godspeed. I will see you all on the next video. Be careful out there.